The first step is to get a sense of what you want your final product to look like. So go ahead and choose all of your pieces and lay them out to see what it looks like. We have pre-cut a bunch of pieces for you. We have gray bases cut for everyone, and you can choose whether you'd like a green, orange, or blue top layer and what color LED you'd like to add. We're going to go with this color scheme. The next thing you need to do is choose your embroidery thread color. Sometimes when we choose embroidery thread, we want the thread to stand out. Sometimes we want it to blend in. In this case, for the threading for the LED, we want it to stand out, especially the leg parts. So we're going to use black or white, would actually work, either one, but we'll use black in this case. For this part, you will only need a piece of embroidery thread that's about 30 centimeters long. We always split our embroidery thread, so embroidery thread is 6 strands, and we split it into 3 so that you end up having 2 pieces. It's environmentally friendly because you can share it with a friend. It's easier to thread through a needle, and it also still shows up. So after you've threaded your needle and tied a knot, a double knot, actually in the very bottom, we always knot it twice so it doesn't go through the felt, you're ready to add your top stitching. And you just begin by coming up from the bottom. So position your LED where you would like it to be. And then come up through the bottom. Position your needle so that it comes up in the spot that you'd like. Always make sure that you pull your thread right through. So on the back, there are no loops. So we've got it coming right through, come up through the bottom and then down through the top. And we're going to do a simple stitch like that. Up from the bottom and down from the top. So now we're going to tie it off, and here's a trick that we use is we take a little piece of the felt on the back of our piece and go through it. And then before we pull the loop completely through, we then go back through the loop to make a knot. We push that knot with our thumb down to the base, and then we do it again. And this is how we knot all of our threads on the back of our work. And so you've secured that piece on there, and now you're ready for your posts. Next step is for you to make your LED posts. We need a positive post and a negative post. Your positive post is always longer on an LED. So line it up in a good spot and start making your posts. And again, we're just going to do a simple stitch. And you can have your stitches overlap if you would like, so you can, instead of starting in a new spot, you can start where the last one ended. And this is an embroidery stitch, and it makes it look like a continuous line. From here, you can just go right back up to where your negative post is going to go. Again, line it up, take your time, and we just did 1. For our negative post. So there we go, or you could do 1 and a little bit so that you have 1 that is shorter and 1 that is longer. All right, you're doing great. We're ready to make our bottom layer now. So you've made your top layer, and our bottom layer is where our simple circuit is going to go. So the battery pack is going to be on the back, and then the LED is going to be embedded on the inside here. These are all the parts that you need, and they're all in your project bag. So you have a sequin LED that has a positive and a negative side. It's labeled. You have about 50 centimeters of electrical thread, a battery pack, a sewable battery pack like this, and a coin cell battery. You can begin actually by cutting your thread, your electrical thread, in half. So if you fold it in the middle and then cut it at the part that loops, you will have 25 centimeters for each side. So you're going to be sewing your positive part of your LED to the positive part of your battery pack, and then the negative part of your battery pack to the negative part of your LED. Threading electrical thread can be difficult. Remember, it is stainless steel, so you wouldn't want to wet this in a traditional way. You would never want to put it in your mouth. But if it is fraying, you can always do a fresh cut with some scissors and then try again. It really is just trial and error. For us, we pinch it really, really close and thread it through. Remember, there are a couple strands. If it doesn't work the first time, just try it again. We do also have needle threaders, so you could ask to use a needle threader because that might be a little bit easier. We knot it at the bottom in the same way that we do with the embroidery thread. So go ahead and do a double knot at the bottom, and then you will be ready to start sewing the one side of your circuit. Check again that your LED is in the spot that you want it to be. I'm going to move mine down a little bit. And you do want your LED to be horizontal. It could be either, but we'll make ours horizontal to show the circuit clearly. So come up from the bottom, and I'm going to sew my negative post first through the hole. There we go. That one caught well. And then down beside. So you're making a loop around the sewable hole. So it's important that it's tight. If it's really loose, then the circuit would not be complete. So the electricity is flowing from the battery through this thread to your output, which is your LED. So you have to make sure that the connection is really solid. We go up and down this hole 3 or 4 times. Your sewable battery pack has a positive and a negative side. So the part with the E is the positive side, and the other side is the negative side. It has kind of springs like that. So you want to place your battery pack 3/4 of the way. So it's going to be on the back, but it's kind of 3/4 of the way down your top layer, because you're going to end up stitching along here. So you don't want your battery pack to be in the way. You want to make sure on the back that you place it so that you can tell it's about 3/4 of the way. And again, I was working on the negative side of my LED here. I'm working on my negative post, and it has a negative right on the LED there. So I'm going to turn this battery pack around so that my circuit is simple. So it's going to go from here to here. And I'm going to finish sewing this one side of my circuit, and then I'm going to tie it off. So now sewing the other side is a little bit easier because you have your LED and your battery pack already in place, which is great. And you're going to sew from the positive side of your LED to the positive side of your battery pack. So then again, when we put our coin cell battery in here, your circuit is making a loop from your positive side into the positive side of your LED, and then from the negative side to the negative side of your battery pack. It's just a simple circuit. So throw this part out. This was the tail that was left, and your other 25 centimeter piece here, you're going to thread it again. So take a moment to thread it. Again, you may use a threader if you'd like, or you can just try and get it through there and sew your other side. So now my simple circuit is done. I've sewn from the negative side of my LED to the negative side of my battery pack. I've tied it off. Then I've sewn from the positive side of my battery pack to the positive side of my LED, and I've also tied it off. Now the tail is quite long here, and if I was to leave this and this was to migrate over to this side and connect with the negative side of my circuit, then it would not work. My LED would not light up, and I'll show you that. So you can test your circuit by putting your coin cell battery in to the battery pack, and when I turn it over, you can see my LED is not lighting up. It should be lighting up because I have my circuit is complete, but because this thread is going across the output, then it's not lighting up. So when I move it, or I would cut it, trim it so that it's not going to cross over, then you can see the LED is working beautifully. You will need about 50 centimeters of thread for sewing the top layer on. So go ahead and choose the color that you'd like and cut 50 centimeters off. And then again, we always split the threads. There's embroidery thread again is 6 strands, and we use 3. So split them. And then if you wouldn't mind actually putting the other one that you're not going to use onto one of these holders, then someone else can use it. So now you're going to sew on your top layer. You may leave your LED on so that you can see for placement, so you can see where it is. And if it's off center, it's not a problem because then you can trim the sides afterwards. So just make sure you have a little bit of a border around the edges, and then you can start in the bottom corner. Again, I've threaded my embroidery thread. I have a little tail here, and I have a double knot at the bottom. So I'm all set, and I'm gonna place it and hold it in place while I start sewing the bottom corner here. And you don't have to worry, embroidery thread is not conductive. Neither is the felt, obviously. So if it touches with the electrical thread, it is not going to ruin your circuit at all. So again, you're going to go up and down in a simple stitch pattern all the way around the edges and all the way along the bottom, and knot it off the way that we've been doing it before. So once you're done sewing around the top piece of your E-Textile badge, you're pretty much done. You could leave it just like this if you'd like. You can also, so when you take out your coin cell battery, that's when your circuit is going to be cut. We don't have a switch embedded in this simple circuit because there simply isn't room really for a switch. You can be inventive about how to embed a switch in here though. Sometimes we use snaps to create a switch. There are components that you can buy that will be a switch. We have chosen to just put a little pocket on the back of ours so that we can house our battery pack. So the way that we would put this on is a little bit different. The sewing style for this, the stitch style for this is a little bit different, and we'll explain that. So the last part is to connect your pocket that's going to hold your coin cell battery to the back of your E-Textile badge. We're going to use a slightly different stitch for this than we were for the other pieces. We're going to catch a little bit of the felt beside the pocket and add it, connect it to the pocket. So here I've used this method all the way up this side. I'm now going to travel my needle underneath my pocket like this to the other side, and I'm going to do this stitch down the other side. So I'll show you how it goes. Straighten our pocket out, and you're going to catch the side of the felt and then come up through both layers. Again, catch the side of your felt and come up through both layers, all the way down to the bottom. So once your pocket is sewn on, you can trim the sides like this. And check out your E-Textile badge. It's looking pretty good from the front, looking pretty good from the back. We can take our coin cell battery out, pop it out, and place it in our little holder that we've made. So for the times when it's not on, it can be like this, and then you can simply pop it out and put it in when you'd like it to light up. All right, congratulations. You are done.